Hey guys, my name is Caitrin and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is an October 2023 wrap up. So we'll be going through a monthly reflection, favorites for the month, and review of reading and goals. And then we'll be looking at next month, setting next month's goals and TBR for next month. So, with all that said, let's go ahead and get started with my monthly reflection. So, looking back on the month of October, honestly, it was a pretty bad month for me. I have chronic migraines, and I can get more into my experience with all of that in a different video. But unfortunately, this past month, I've had daily migraines. And so that has really gotten in the way of me being able to live my life and work and be there for my friends and family. And so that has been just a really hard experience in general, especially because this is something I've experienced before. And having that come back again. I think especially after I was started on something that was supposed to be this miracle drug for me has been just a really hard experience. So all in all, it's been pretty bad month, just from the health perspective. But also there's been a bunch of changes at the company that I work for, and I'm still trying to figure out how I personally feel about some of the changes and the changes specifically that have impacted me. And so I don't really want to go too much into it on here, at least not right now. But I'm being placed back in a role that I left because I was unhappy in it. And so I'm trying to figure out just what my future looks like, both from a health perspective and from a career perspective right now. And so October has just all in all been a month of a lot of overwhelm. That being said, my best friend also just recently finished up grad school and moved back to the area that I live. And so I'm really excited that I'm going to get to be able to spend more time with her. And the two of us were able to go on a really nice long hike together a couple weeks back. And so that was really nice to be able to see her again and catch up with her because the two of us used to live together, and so I used to see her every single day, and then I have seen her twice in the last year and a half. And so it was really nice to be able to spend some more time with her. Okay, so now that we've finished up the monthly reflection, we're going to move into my favorites for the month of October. So this one is not on the list, but I thought I would include just because I'm wearing it today. My partner and I got matching sweatshirts from Target. And so, of course, because today's November 1st, it is time for the Christmas stuff to come out. So it's a little Snoopy on a candy cane. So that's definitely going to be a favorite of this Christmas season this year. All right, so starting with books, my favorite book that I read this past month was, I need to make sure I get the name right, The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. Um, so if you have not read it, it has a lot of themes of obviously witchiness, um, also like found family, um, kind of exploring like loneliness in young adulthood. I highly recommend it if you haven't had a chance to look at it yet. I think it's a great book specifically for Halloween season, but it's also not too big on the Halloween vibes. That you could read it any time of year and really enjoy it. My favorite movie of this past month was the new Haunted Mansion movie. Um, I really enjoyed it. It was pretty spooky. I think it's rated PG-13, so definitely would not recommend it for young kids because there were some parts that had me a little bit jumpy. Granted, I scare very easily. I'm not a fan of anything even remotely scary. so keep that in mind. But I really enjoyed it. It was a great experience to watch it. I definitely like it more than the original Haunted Mansion movie. And I really loved all of the small nods to the ride in this movie. So if you're a big fan of the Haunted Mansion ride, I do think that you will really like this movie. My favorite music of this past month uh, was actually a Christmas song that came out at the end of September. So it's Pentatonic's Please Santa Please. It's really good. Absolutely love it. Have had it stuck in my head for the last month. I was really excited for Pentatonic's new Christmas album this year, but unfortunately, it seems like most of it is just their greatest hits, just all on one album. But it looks like Please Santa Please is a new one this year. At the very least, I've never heard it. And so it was really great to be able to listen to that. And I'm really excited to have it in my Christmas music rotation this year. So, like I mentioned before, this month has been filled with a lot of migraines for me, which is exacerbated by a lot of screen time. And so I've been trying to pick up different hobbies that do not require looking at a screen. And so something that I've really been enjoying is diamond painting. It has been really nice to also listen to my audiobook while I'm doing that, and I still am able to do an activity completely without screens. The one thing I will say though is that when I do actively have a migraine, the bending over to do the diamond painting does really hurt my neck, and so it's not great, but it's good for the times that I'm trying to prevent a migraine because it hasn't quite come on yet that day. My favorite YouTube channel this past month has definitely been Allison Stoner's YouTube channel. Recently, she's been doing a series called Dear Hollywood that centers around famous children and kind of that child star to train wreck pipeline, and if that's actually a fault of the children or a fault of the system. Quick hint, more of a system than the children themselves. And so that's been really informative, and I think it's given me a really interesting inside look to what it's like to be raised famous, and how I think especially a lot of kids aren't ready for that level of fame when they're still trying to figure out who they are as a human being. And so that's been a really interesting series. And again, if you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend it. I will just give you a heads up though that you might want to pay attention to some of the trigger warnings around it because they do discuss some more intense topics at times. And so if that's something that you're sensitive to right now, then it might be best for you to stay away from that type of content. My favorite video game of this past month was What Remains of Edith Finch. I played it on my Switch, and it was a really fun game where you get to walk around as Edith Finch, going through her childhood home and exploring the lives of a bunch of her various family members. It's a pretty quick game. I think it took me about 3 hours to play it. I will say, though, it does have a lot of, again, intense topics. So take a look at some trigger warnings if that's a potential concern for you. But I think it's a beautifully done game, and I've been recommending it to everyone in my life because I think it's a great game to play on a nice autumnal afternoon, although you can, of course, play it at any time of year. But it is a very story driven game if that's something that you enjoy. My favorite purchases of this past month were first, I bought some IKEA shelves to put in my living room that divide up the living room, TV room space and where my desk is because I do work from home full time. And so that's actually been a really nice thing that has made it feel like I could better separate my at home relaxing life from my work life. Two of my other favorite purchases are very closely related. So the first one is an Olaplex product. It's the Olaplex number 4C Bond Maintenance Clarifying Shampoo. So I have really oily hair, and it's been really nice for getting a lot of those oils out. The one thing I will say is it is very drying, so I do need to use it with a deep conditioner when I do use it. But what I've actually switched to, because that product is just a little bit too expensive for me right now, is I've been using a L'Oreal product that is marketed as being good for oily roots but dry ends, which is definitely what I feel like I experience. But I think it's a good, not great, but it's a really good drugstore shampoo that can act as a bit of a dupe for the Olaplex one if you use the Olaplex one for just oily hair. If you use it for other purposes, I don't know if I could necessarily recommend the L'Oreal one, but if you're looking for a cheaper drugstore alternative, then it might be worth a shot. And with that, we're now going to move to my desk to discuss my reading wrap up for this past month. I'll see you over there. Okay, so now we're going to talk through the books that I read this past month. I read 12 books over the course of this month that totaled to 2,463 pages. The most read genre was graphic novels, specifically very witchy themed graphic novels. If you haven't seen it, my last YouTube video was Halloween graphic novel recommendations, which included a lot of witchy reads. So maybe not the most relevant now that Halloween has passed, but could give you some good ideas for next Halloween if you do want to see that. And so I read an average of 79 pages per day. So I read 2 books, 5 ebooks, and 5 audiobooks. My favorite quote was from Garlic and the Witch. So it was, that's the thing about big change, isn't it? You want to wait until you are ready, but sometimes you never are. That was on page 37. But I think it just explains a lot about what I'm struggling with in my life right now. I think these changes are necessary. I think that in the long run it's going to be good, but right now I'm definitely not excited about it and ready for it. And so I think that this was a good reminder that sometimes the change just needs to happen, and you might want to wait until you're ready, but sometimes you either just have to try when you're not ready, or it happens for you. So completely unsurprisingly, one of my top 2 favorite books this past month was Garlic and the Vampire, and also realistically Garlic and the Witch. I read them the same day. I can't really tell you which one exactly has like specific plot moments, so I kind of see them as the same. And The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, like I mentioned before. My least favorite was Crying in H Mart. Honestly, I don't think I was the target demographic for this book. I didn't connect with it. I didn't really connect with the writing. So I decided to just DNF it because I wasn't enjoying it. Also, if you're not familiar, DNF is did not finish. And so then I have, I'm not going to go over every single book I read and my rating, but if you want to see the 12 books that I read, you can go ahead and just pause the screen on this. And also, my Goodreads is linked down below if you want to follow me and keep up to date on the books that I'm reading. Okay, so now we're going to transition over to looking at my social media and content creation growth updates. Whoop. Just fix that hair right there. This is something that I saw on someone else's channel. I can't remember who it is. I'll put their name below if I remember. But I thought it was a really cool idea to keep track of how my channel's growing, as well as my other social media accounts. I already put these in just to save a little bit of time. So in October, I had the same number of subscribers. I only posted 1 new video in October, and I hadn't posted for the previous 3 years. So I'm not at all surprised by that. My watch time hours went from 43.7 to 45. Viewers went up by 24. Post count went up by 1. So then I have 3 different Instagram accounts, which I know is a lot, but I'm kind of trying to keep them to specific niches for the most part. So we'll look at the first one, which is Megan's Reading Nook. Also, all of these will be linked down below if you do want to go follow me on Instagram. I would greatly appreciate it. So from September to October, I went from 67 to 75 followers. And then I posted 2 additional posts during that time. And honestly, I think that this is great growth, especially because, again, the last time I posted on this account was like 3 years ago. And so for the fact that I only did 2 new posts and only really started using this account again a few weeks ago, I think that this is great. Enchanting Expeditions, I've been keeping up with a bit more. This is my Disney content, and also will likely in the future include some travel content. But this one I started last year. I started this one about a year ago. And so from September to October, I went from 9 to 13 posts and from 91 to 99 followers. My Megan Caitrin Instagram, again, this is one that I hadn't touched in like 5 years, that I brought back. And so I went from 5 to 6 posts and from 45 to 49 followers. And then I also have an Etsy store. Again, will be linked down below with digital products. No pressure to buy anything if you don't want to, but if you do want to check it out, I would really appreciate it. So October was when I first opened this store, and I got 40 total views, 3 orders, 22 visits, and $3 in revenue. I actually just got my first payment from Etsy. It was all of 87 cents after all of the fees, but it's still exciting to get some level of income coming in from this content creation stuff. Okay, so now we're going to take a quick look at my goals for October. So looking at my goals from October, my general focus of the month was health, which again, my health wasn't great, but I do think I've done a good job of focusing on improving my health and trying the best I can to be feeling a bit better, even though it doesn't feel like it's working all that much. I know that it's good for me in the long run. For personal goals, it was read 10 books. I read 12, so I'm going to go ahead and check that off. Spend more time with friends. I only got together with one friend this month, but it was my best friend who I haven't seen in a while. And also, again, I was having a really bad health month, so I'm going to check that off, because I think I did a much better job than I do most months, especially most months I feel as bad as I do right now. I completed the virtual Run Disney Runaway Railway 5K that I signed up for over the summer and was supposed to complete in August, but then my health kind of went downhill. I also completed the Club Run Disney virtual 10K. For both of those, my health isn't really in a place where I can be running. My migraines are made worse by especially intense like cardio. And so I walked both of those. And the 10K I split up into 2 different days, but I completed the distance. And so for me, like, that counts. I did an awful job of tracking my migraines in Migraine Buddy, but I did do a good job of tracking my migraines in my Notion, so I'm going to check that off. So for financial goals, I wanted to save about $2,000 towards retirement this month, which I did. I also wanted to save $200 towards my short-term emergency fund, and save $2,000 towards buying a house, because me and my partner are currently saving for a down payment on a house, so that hopefully we can buy one in maybe a little over a year. So I did not hit the 2,000 though. I think I saved 500. So it's better than nothing, but didn't quite hit that goal. I don't know how many times I meditated, but it was way more than 5 times, because that is something that I've been doing to focus on my health. And then I completed the October Duolingo challenge, and I unfortunately did not post 5 videos. I only posted 1 video. I would say all in all, a pretty good month for my goals. I think especially because my health was pretty awful. And so I think these are the goals that I wrote at the beginning of the month when I didn't know that I was going to have migraines every day of the month. And so I think that I've made some great progress towards long term goals. And yeah, all in all, looks pretty good. Big question. Did I actually do my November goals? No, I did not. Okay, so because I haven't updated my goals for November, I'm actually going to do a quick time lapse to add those in. Okay, so I'm ready to talk through my November goals that I just wrote up. First off, general overarching focus of the month, theme of the month is going to be mental health. This past month, I've been focusing on my physical health a lot, which is great, but I think realistically, because of where I'm at in my migraine journey, my mental health has really been suffering recently, and so I'm hoping to put more focus on that right now, which partially includes focusing on my physical health. But I think just all in all, trying to be a lot kinder to myself. And so some of these goals I think are a little ambitious, but I think realistically with these goals, if it seems like at any point in the month that I'm just not going to be able to hit them, instead of just not reaching them, I'm going to adjust them to be something that is reachable for me as a way to try and be a bit kinder to myself. Personal goal is to read 10 books, and I'll go through my TBR once we're done looking at the goals. Health and wellness, so I'm signed up for the Run Disney Wine and Dine races. Again, though, my health is not at a place where I can actually run. Thankfully, I'm doing them virtually. But so I will be walking those, and I think realistically, I'll be walking them spread out over the course of the month of November. So we have the 5K, the 10K, and the half marathon. So as far as my migraines go, I want to track my migraines in whatever way makes the most sense to me. I just added another goal in there real quick. I am also starting some new medication. I think the problem is that my CVS doesn't have it, and so I don't know how long it's going to take for that to come in, but that's a top priority for me, is to start that new medication. And I'm definitely very anxious about it because I have to inject myself. I think it's basically like an EpiPen type thing. So you don't ever see the needle, but I'm terrified of needles. So I definitely have a lot of anxiety around trying this new medication. But I think also the goal that I just added is to look into Botox, uh, because apparently it's something that can help with migraines. Unfortunately, it's not something that my insurance will cover. So I'm wanting to just get a sense of how expensive it is. But realistically, if this medication that I'm trying now doesn't work, that Botox is kind of the last option. And anything else would be the more holistic type uh, option. So, like acupuncture, massage, like those types of things, which I think can work great for some people. But again, it's stuff that my insurance wouldn't cover. So, yeah, I'm wanting to just kind of do some more research into, I think, especially Botox, because I feel like that has been so successful for a lot of people, but also into other alternatives. Because unfortunately, I have almost now failed all of the different medication types uh, for migraines. And so I'm just hoping to be able to find something that will work. And I think I need something to be looking towards if this new medication doesn't work out. Um, Financially, I should have adjusted this. Realistically, I'm not going to be able to save 2,000 towards buying a house this month. Whoops, that's not my top priority. Because of the state of my health, it's kind of up in the air on my ability to work in the future. And so my top priority is beefing up my emergency fund so that if I'm not able to work, that I have a bit more time to coast before I need to have something figured out. So it would be great to be able to do content creation stuff, but I know also that that takes a long time to be able to make any kind of real money from it. So I'm just trying to explore all the different options. So, but I still want to be making progress towards that goal. So I'm going to be trying to set aside $500 a month. I am also saving, hoping to save $200 towards my short-term emergency fund, and save $2,000 again towards my retirement. For habits, because I've been doing a really good job with meditating recently, and I think it's been helping a lot. I want to meditate 10 times, which is about twice a week. I want to complete the November Duolingo challenge, and then I also want to try to stay on track for Run Disney stuff. So completing those 3 wine and dine races by the end of this month, and also just continuing to move my body in that way, even if it is just walking and not running, being more intentional about trying to do maybe a bit further of distances or walking a little bit faster so that I can stay on track for some other Run Disney races that I'm signed up for next year, since I was not feeling as awful as I do now earlier this year when I registered for those races. And then lastly, for the goals, I have the content creation stuff. So for YouTube, I'm hoping to post 5 videos this next month. And then for my 3 different Instagram accounts, for the bookish one, I'm hoping, so that's Megan's Reading Nook, I'm hoping to post 3 times. For the Disney Instagram, I'm hoping to post 9 times, and then 1 reel, which I did already post the 1 reel. So if you want to go check that out on Enchanting Expeditions, it's linked down below. And then my personal Instagram, I want to post 4 times. And then on Etsy, I have a digital planner that I'm working on for 2024. And so I want to get that up and posted. And it has, I call it my sunflower planner, because it has a sunflower as the front image. And so that's just a good way for me to keep straight the different planners that I'm working on. So I'm hoping to finish that up and get that listed by the end of the month. Okay, last but certainly not least, I'm going to run through my TBR for November. There are a lot of books on this list, but a lot of them are the like prime reading short stories. I forget what they're called. And so they're, less than an hour of an audiobook. And so most of those I can get through in like a day. I don't know if I'm going to get to all of these books this month. I might pick up different books instead. We'll see. But these are the books that, at least as of right now, I'm hoping to read this month. And I'll insert some pictures. First up is Hidden Pictures, and then The Maid, The Prince and the Troll, The Princess Game, The Cleaners, The Wickeds, The Visit, The Black Pages, 2043, These Alien Skies, Clapback, and We Travel to Spaceways. So all of those I'm hoping to listen to the audiobooks for this month, and then books I'm hoping to either physically read or read on my Kindle are The Lover, which is a short story written by the same author who wrote Mexican Gothic. I think it was an Amazon First Reads choice for October. So I picked that one up because I really liked Mexican Gothic. The graphic novel of Kindred by Octavia Butler. I absolutely loved Kindred, is maybe not the right way to say it, because it's a very intense, like science fiction, historical fiction about slavery. And I think the graphic novel is probably going to be even harder to read in some ways because it will be like physically depicted, some of the things that happen to the main character, but I've really been wanting to read that graphic novel, so I'm excited to read that. Lore Olympus, Volume 5, and then The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, Volume 1, 2, and 3, and then a book called How to Stay in Love. I'm about halfway through it, and I'm not even halfway through it. I'm a few chapters into it, and I really enjoy it. It's a divorce lawyer's um, advice on basically how to not end up in his office. Uh, he was on the financial diet at one point, and was promoting his book. It's really interesting, I think, especially because my parents are divorced. And so that's something that I'm trying to be hyper aware of avoiding that. And so I want to be doing everything in my power to give my relationship the highest chances of success. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But I think also it's giving some good insight into how you can set up your relationship before you get to the point of divorce to make it a much cleaner divorce, such as like having a prenup. So, yeah. And those are all 19 of the books that I hope to read in November. And that is it for my monthly wrap up. So, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And definitely let me know if you would like to see more of these in the future. I will probably continue to make them even if you don't, because this is the type of content that I really love watching. And I think it's a lot of fun to create as well. But also, if there's anything like this that you'd like to see in the future, definitely let me know down in the comments. I'm always looking for suggestions and would love to know what you all would like to see. So, okay, with that, I will talk to you all next time. Thanks, everyone. Bye.